Daf Yomi, Tractate Menachos, page 39b. We'll start on the last line of 39a because it's starting the story. The line starts Rav V'Rabba Bar Barchana Havo Yasvi Hava Ka Chalif Azil Ahu Gavra Demi Kase Galima Dechula Techelta Uramila Techelta. The Gemara relates that Rav and Rabba Bar Barchana were sitting together. A certain man was passing by wearing a cloak that was made entirely of sky blue wool, on which he had affixed white and sky blue strings. And now we turn to 39b, top of the page, with the words Ugedila Migdil. Ugedila Migdil, Lamarav Glima Vanoya Tchelta, Rabba Barchana Yae Glima Yae Tchelta. The ritual fringes were composed entirely of windings, without any portion of the strings hanging loose. Rav says the cloak is beautiful, but the white and sky blue strings are not beautiful. And Rabba Bar Barchana said the cloak is beautiful and the white and sky blue strings are also beautiful. Okay, so we know what that's alluding to. That Rav said it doesn't need tzitzis, and Rabba Bar Barchana said yes, it's a mitzvah to have tzitzis on these. Okay. B'mai kamiflagi Rabba Bar Barchana savar kasiv gedil o betil o gedil o betil. O Gadil, O Patil. The Gemara asks, with what regard to what principle do they disagree? The Gemara answers, Rabba Bar Barchana holds that since it is written in one verse, you shall prepare yourself twisted cords, Deuteronomy 22, verse 12, and in another is written, and they shall put it on the fringe of the corner of a sky blue thread. Numbers 15:38, it teaches that the ritual fringes may be composed entirely of either twisted cords, meaning the windings or loose threads or strings. Rav says, Loilam, Vesilveinan, Vehahu, Gedilim, Reminyana, Hudasa, Gedil Shnaim, Gedil Mavo, Asi Gedilim Saltai, Pos Laihu, Mitoichlai. Rav holds that actually we also require loose strings in addition to the windings. And when that term twisted cords appears, in the verse it comes from the purpose of teaching the number of strings that are required. If the verse would have employed the single term twisted cord, it would still indicate that the two strings are required, as twisted means that two strings are wound around each other. Once the verse uses the plural term twisted cords, it thereby indicates that four strings are required. By using the terms twisted cords and thread, the verse indicates form twisted cords with the four strings that one attaches to each corner, and let the strings hang loose from them. Amar Shmuel Mishmei de Levi, Hu Teitzevel Poitchin B'Shel Pishton. Shmuel says in Levi, wool strings exempt a garment made of linen, meaning one fulfills the mitzvah by affixing wool strings to a linen garment. Ibai Lo Shel Pishton Ma Hu Shivtu B'Shel Tzemel. Tzemel B'Shel Pishtim Ha Dipota D'Chev D'Cheles B'Chol Lopon Nami Poto Aval Pishtim D'Tzemel. A dilemma was raised before the sages. What is the halakha with regard to whether strings made of linen exempt a garment made of wool? One can say that it is only wool strings that exempt a garment of linen, since the sky blue string, which must be wool, exempts the linen garment. White strings of wool also exempt the garment. But if one affixes linen strings to a wool garment, he does not fulfill his obligation. Odilma kevin ichsiv. Lo tilbash shatnis tzemer ufishtim yachdav gedilim taselecho gedilim taselach lo ishna tzemer ufishtim lo ishna pishtim tzemer. Or perhaps, since it's written, you shall not wear diverse kinds wool and linen together, you shall prepare yourself twisted cords upon the four corners of your covering. Deuteronomy 22:11-12, which indicates that one may wear wool and linen together in order to fulfill the mitzvah of ritual fringes. There is no difference whether one affixes wool strings to a garment of linen, and there is no difference whether one affixes linen strings to a garment of wool. Toshima Amar Rachava Amar Yehuda Hu Teitzem Poitrin B'Shel Pishton B'Shel Pishton Poitrin B'Shel Tzemech Hu Teitzem B'Shtim Poitrin B'Chol Mekam Afilo B'Shirain. The Gemara suggests coming here a resolution to this dilemma. As Rechava says, that Rabbi Yehuda says, wool strings exempt a garment made of linen, strings of linen exempt a garment made of wool, and strings of wool and linen exempt a garment in any case, meaning all garments and even garments made from silks. V'shira'in. Upliga Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman ashiroin beturim min atzitzis. Eis ve'rov Rav Nachman ashiroin nekalach asirikin. Kulan chayovim mitzitzis midrabanan. And the Gemara notes, and this last point disagrees with the ruling of Rav Nachman, as Rav Nachman says shirayin are entirely exempt from the obligation of ritual fringes. Rava raised an obligation to the opinion of Rav Nachman from the following Braita. Garments made from types of silks known as shirayin cannot require ritual fringes. The Gemara answered the Braita means that there is an obligation by rabbinic law, whereas Rav Nachman meant they are exempt by Torah law. Yachim Sefer v'kulan Sefer Pishtim poitim men. Yam Mishlam V'Divayasaynu Mishlam V'Uklai V'Elam Yom D'Abana Nechi B'Shtarai V'Uklai Meima Oitzemer Oipishtim. The Gemara challenges the suggestion. If that is so, then say that the latter clause of the Braita, and with regard to all these garments, strings of wool and linen exempt them. This indicates that the one may affix wool, sky blue strings and white linen strings. Granted, if you say that the obligation of ritual fringes for silk garments is by Torah law, that is why diverse kinds are permitted for them. But if you say that the obligation is by rabbinic law, how could diverse kinds be permitted for them? The Gemara answers to say instead, either wool or linen strings exempt silk garments, but one may not affix both wool and linen strings to the same silk garment. The Gemara comments, so too, it is reasonable to assume that this is the correct interpretation of the Braita. As the Braita teaches in the latter clause, strings made from these silk fabrics exempt a garment of their type, but do not exempt a garment that is not of their type. Granted, if you say the obligation attached to fringes these garments is rabbinic law, then that is why they are exempted if one affixes strings to their type. But if you say the obligation is by Torah law, then it should be only wool or linen that exempt these garments. The Gemara rejects this if it is due. Where are we? The Gemara rejects this. Right. If it is due to that reason, there is no conclusive argument. Is that where we were? Yeah, it's right. Yeah. The Gemara rejects this. If it is due to that reason, there is no conclusive argument because one can maintain that other fabrics also fulfill the obligation of ritual fringes by Torah law, in accordance with the opinion of Rava. As Rava raises a contradiction, it is written in one verse, and they shall put on the fringe of the corner sky blue thread. Numbers 15:38. The term in the corner indicates that the fringe must be from the same type of fabric as the corner, and yet is written wool and linen, Deuteronomy 22:11. Immediately before the verse states, you shall prepare yourself twisted cords upon the four corners of your covering, Deuteronomy 22:12. Indicating the ritual fringes must be from either wool or linen. Okay, so it's 7 official poison, bain, minan. How so? Strings made of wool or linen exempt any garment, whether the garment is made of their type of fabric or whether it is not of their type of fabric. Strings made of all other types of fabric exempt garments made of their type of fabric. For example, silk strings exempt a silk garment, but they do not exempt a garment made of fabric that is not their type, meaning a garment made from a different fabric. Rav Nachman Giditana Dever Ishmael. The Gemara knows Rav Nachman, who holds that silk garments do not require ritual fringes by Torah law, holds in accordance with the ruling stated by Itana of the school of Rabbi Ishmael. The Tana de Rabbi Ishmael, Yidu Nevel Begodim Torah Stam, Ufrat Licha Kosu Beachad Mihin Temer Fishtim Av Kol Temer Fishtim. as a Tana of the school of Rabbi Yishmael taught. Since the word garments is usually stated in the Torah without specification as to the material from which the garments are made, and the verse specified in one of its references to garments that it is referring to garments made of wool or linen, as it states, and the garment in which there will be the mark of leprosy, whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, Leviticus 13:47. It may be derived that so too all garments mentioned in the Torah are those made of wool or linen. Other fabrics are not classified as garments by Torah law. Consequently, when the Torah requires strings on the corners of garments, see Numbers 15:38, is referring specifically to garments made of wool or linen. Abaye said, this statement by a Tana of the school of Rabbi Yishmael diverges from another statement of a Tana in the school of Rabbi Yishmael, who holds that all fabrics are considered garments, as a Tana of the school of Rabbi Yishmael taught. From the fact that the verse states a woolen garment, Leviticus 13:47, I have derived only that a garment of wool can become ritually impure. From where is derived the garments made of camel's hair, rabbit's wool, goat's hair, or the types of silk, kalach, sarikin, and shirayin are also included in this halacha. The same verse states, or a linen garment. The word or serves as an amplification to include all types of fabric. What else could have said though? Wool and linen? All right.